long term, basically because they expected the worst. She said that for Paige, this is something that she's just going to have to go through, and that she knows this all too well because she just went through it a month ago when she sprained her knee. She said that it's so mentally challenging to have to continue to recover from these types of injuries, but that it all starts with regaining confidence. She said that she had to relearn how to trust her knee, and that it wasn't easy, but that she had to go through that in order to be the player that she is today. She said that Paige being out gives the team an opportunity to grow so that when she does return, they will all be even better, and it will only help them towards their main goal, Alan.
All right, Chelsea, thanks. So AZ taking the floor. I don't know what was said in the huddle when the starters broke, but there were a lot of laughs coming out of that group.
Yeah, a lot of smiles, a lot of laughs, great vibe in here. And a typical freshman Sarah Strong was just waving to the crowd. I'm assuming her parents.
Family, probably, yeah, sitting in the family section behind us. Pretty good crowd on a Wednesday night, with the feel-like temperature being like down to 5. And we're underway. UConn in the home whites, Xavier in their road black uniforms. Here is Lauren Christie leading the Big East in blocks. And the kick outside to the freshman from Finland, Kanerva, who drains the opening shot.
You gotta love it for a team like Xavier, who hasn't won a Big East game in 44 games. You love them coming out, knocking down that first shot, starting with confidence.
And knocking down the first shot for UConn is Ashlyn Shade.
And boy, does it do a lot for her confidence to knock down her first shot. Plus, it allows UConn to get in that full court pressure.
So Kanerva runs into traffic, and she'll turn the ball over to UConn. Gino Auriemma looking to score what would be his 1,227th career win against just 164 losses. And there's Billy Chambers in her second season as the head coach at Xavier. Had an incredible 10-year run at Iona in New Rochelle. Two-time MAC Coach of the Year for the Gales. So here is Kanerva, guarded by Caitlin Chen, who Gino expects to have a big role in this UConn game tonight. Taylor Purvis.
UConn's pressure is giving Xavier fits.
And a turnover, stepping on the sideline. And UConn basketball. Keys to the game presented by Nissan. What are they?
The question is, who will step up in the absence of Paige? You know, we talked about Sarah Strong, and Easy Fudd is bringing the ball up now. There's lots of questions, and then they got to outscore Xavier in the paint.
And making some threes won't hurt a thing either. Sarah Strong with the tray for the Huskies. So last couple of there's a steal. 3 straight turnovers for Xavier. And a fortunate bounce on the pass, but Shade missed the shot as she attempted to hit glass, and then she's going to get called for the foul.
And she's mad at herself. She's like, you know, if I just would have made that layup, then I wouldn't have committed that foul.
Things that will drive a coach crazy. Missed layups has to be at the top of the list, right?
And it was an errant pass from Strong that wound up in the hands of Shade. It was intended for Fudd.
Kanerva steps around the screen set by Christie, but the shot way wide left. Alalfi with the rebound, and Huskies push the pace. Chen to Strong. No. Shade taps the rebound. Strong gets a good hustle play to get it, but stumbled in traffic. She's up and okay behind the play. So 3 straight turnovers by Xavier, not part of the game plan I trust for Coach Chambers. There's Christie with the shot, no. And Fudd with the long rebound.
Well, we talk about it all the time. It's impossible for teams to prepare for UConn's pressure defense. You can't simulate it in practice.
Kick save and a beauty by Petra Orbalova, junior from Slovakia, part of this heavily internationally flavored lineup for the Musketeers. Players from a dozen different countries on their 15-player roster.
And they've got 8 newcomers as well, so a lot of inexperience on this team.
Strong from just beyond the free throw stripe. And the UConn defensive pressure again. Easily broken this time as Christie came back to get the ball. First sub into the ball game for Xavier is a Connecticut native. As Christie shoots over the top of everything. Ajanique Mayo from Bridgeport, number 2 for Xavier. Keep an eye out for her. Here's Fudd. Short on the shot, and the rebound goes to Taylor Purvis.
Boy, how quick is Fudd's release, though? She catches and immediately launches.
So quick you couldn't hit start and stop on a stopwatch in time.
Great pass.
Good ball movement. UConn defense, though, with the quick switch, and Canerva bounced it off her own foot. Down behind the play is Chen, slow to get up. Now she's rejoining the play. El-Alfi will get called for a travel.
Yeah, I thought she shuffled her feet.
And so UConn with the turnover. There's Caitlin Chen.
I think she turned her ankle. Yeah, right there you see her right foot went over, twisted her ankle, but had the presence of mind to keep the ball and then give it to a teammate.
So Gino Auriemma's squad on a 7-0 run here and has forced 4 turnovers by Xavier in the last 3.5 minutes. Stepped on the end line. That was Irune Orio from Spain, and so another turnover by Xavier.
UConn's pressure defense has been, gosh, so full of energy, so pesky.
Here's the roster of countries that players on this Xavier roster hail from. Look at that.
That's right? Incredible.
4 players from Spain. And that is going to draw a foul on Taylor Purvis. I believe her first. Yes, her first. And Fudd will be subbed out of the ball game here for UConn. And KK Arnold, first off the bench, as is normal now for the Huskies, into the ball game. Ball on the floor and tied up. And it'll be UConn's basketball with 10 to shoot on the alternating possession arrow. Boy, what a couple game run KK Arnold has had, huh?
You know, she's really settling into her role, coming off the bench and changing the game, bringing great energy, a lot of dribble penetrating and scoring on the run, scoring layups, and she's really helped the team tremendously these last few games.
Strong gets the shot off just before the shot clock expired, knocked out of bounds, and it's going to be UConn basketball. Goes off of Oreo, and the Huskies will get a second crack at it here. Jenna El-Alfi doing some work in the paint.
Yeah, she's working hard in there. You got to look to get her the ball.
Missed the shot. Oreo there on the defense, 6'2" junior from Spain.
When you talk about Sarah Strong, the game slows down for her. It almost speeds up for El-Alfi, and you saw it on that shot.
Arnold with the steal. All the way to the other end, got it to go, and pulled up shy of creating the contact.
What a savvy play by the sophomore with the pull-up and the nice use of the glass.
The energy she plays with and the attacking mode she's in on both ends of the floor these last couple of games for UConn.
Great backdoor cut, and what a pass.
And so a 5-minute scoring drought broken as Purvis gets the bucket for Xavier. And it's a 4-point UConn lead. As many turnovers as Xavier's had, they probably are reasonably, I'd say, thrilled to only be down 4 points. 8 to shoot here for UConn. Look at the aggressive defense on part of Xavier. Falls out of bounds and turned over by UConn to Xavier, leading us to the media timeout. Consecutive week they've been ranked. South Carolina with the second longest consecutive week streak, and you see it's less than half of UConn's. That's another one of those absurd Gino and CD era numbers. That
ridiculous.
And another turnover generated by the Husky defensive pressure. Then they turn it into some points. There's Flood, makes herself available top of the key, and it's for 3.
That's a coach's dream, to steal the ball and then get a 3 in transition. It's one coach's dream, it's one coach's nightmare.
Yeah. So the 7th turnover now for Xavier as the defense again attacks the Musketeer offense. UConn turned the ball over 3 times in those first 6 minutes of game. There's Ashanate Mayo from Bridgeport. Gets the rim, and Sarah Strong with a nice rebounding effort. Bud dribbled into traffic, but recovered. Caitlin Chen, no. Long rebound right into the hands of Julia Garcia Raj, one of the Spanish players in the lineup. There's Mayo, missed on the 3. Another rebound for Strong.
Strong always in the right position.
Quickly to the other end of the floor is Flood. Bucket and foul.
You know, with being such a threat to shoot, particularly from long range, the defense is going to run at you. What a great recognition by Fudd to attack the glass and then split the defense, and the strength to finish while getting fouled.
It's already 5 points on the game tonight for AZ. Chelsea reported on her conversation with AZ about, Paige and what she faces sitting out with this knee sprain and then coming back a couple of games. We've seen AZ have this same situation earlier this season, and it took her a couple of games to get going at the start of the season when she first made her return. Now this is a few games into her return after that short injury timeout, and I kind of expect these next couple of games we'll see AZ Flood get up to full speed.
I think so, and she knows she's got to step up, especially in the absence of Beckers.
Morgan Shelley into the ball game for UConn. There's Lauren Christie, will draw a foul as she goes to the rim. Talking about AZ since coming back from the knee sprain suffered against Louisville. A slower start than the AZ we had just come to see after her first return from injury this season.
Yeah, she's good for much more than 6 a game and 30% from 3.
But
those numbers will continue to creep up.
Exactly, and figuring tonight would be a night we might see that kind of explosion. Foul was on Sarah Strong, her first. And so Lauren Christie, a grad student from London, England, who transferred to Xavier before the start of last season, but then underwent shoulder surgery and missed the whole season. She has leading the Big East in blocks, and she's one of the key figures for any kind of hopes that Xavier have in having the season they wish for this year. There's Sarah Strong right to the rim.
Well, Strong continues to impress with her when-to, like when to drive, when to pull up. Spectacular move.
I like that, the when-to. Got a hand on that ball, retrieved in the corner. Shot clock was run out, and it gets knocked out of bounds, and it's going to be UConn basketball.
So how about Strong recognizing that Christie can't guard her, and she just exploded. She's quicker than she looks.
She'll get a nice hand from the XL Center crowd as she takes her first breather of the game. So AZ Flood, Ashlyn Shade, Caitlin Chen, KK Arnold, and Morgan Shelley, the 5 on the floor for UConn. How about that quick move from Shade?
Shade has really perfected that pull-up jumper about 10 feet from the hoop.
Ooh, Arnold got a hand on the ball, but it went out of bounds off her. I also feel like Ashlyn Shade this season came back from summer and her workouts at home quicker.
Yeah, and she's taking more risks defensively, which is what Gino wanted her to be more aggressive. And a lot of that's mental. They always, the old joke, the best thing about freshmen is they become sophomores.
Timeout called by Xavier as the UConn double team on the Frenchman Canerva. Points to UConn. Again, Xavier scored the first 3 points of the game. It's 19-3 UConn since then. Daniela Lopez tried to throw it off the glass. It didn't go. Yeah,
UConn forces you to take shots you don't want to take. They're either rushed or they're a bad shot. But you see a light of day and you take it.
but missed. Rebound got out of the hands of Christie. Nice pass from Shade to Fudd.
It's unfortunate because Christie worked hard for that ball, and then it just slipped out of her hands.
She'll have the basketball in her hands here and hand it off to Canerva. Look at the energy UConn's defense is playing with as that shot goes wide to the right from Aborolova.
Yeah, we're seeing a different pep in their step, particularly defensively.
Here's Chelly. That shot doesn't go. Chen just missed a swipe at the rebound, and it's gathered in by Christie. So Musketeers have missed their last 4 field goal attempts and only made one of their last 8. 20 seconds to go here in this opening quarter. They'll try it in the paint. That hasn't worked well, has it? That's going to be tied up as Chelly got her hands in on the basketball. After the double team and trap, put Christie in kind of a bad spot. So a possession arrow, it stays with the Musketeers, and they'll have 10 seconds to shoot with 13.4 to go in the period. To shoot. Skip pass. Purvis. That was blocked. And that'll cause a time violation and another turnover. Azzi Fudd with the block. 2.1 to go in this opening period. Will they try for a shot or just run the clock? The heave from the Madison Reed logo. A little outside, but a fun try nonetheless. Well, great opening quarter if you're the home fans. UConn leading Xavier 21-6.
And more.
Yeah, so when we talked on Sunday at Villanova about is she having one of the best freshman seasons ever for UConn, there's some numbers to back it up.
Yeah, that's an emphatic yes.
So Strong back on the floor for the Huskies to start this second quarter, along with K.K. Arnold, Azzi Fudd, Caitlin Chan, and Morgan Chelly. By the way, the 6 points scored in quarter number 1, the fewest that Xavier has scored in an opening quarter this year. Not the fewest they've scored in any quarter, but the fewest they've scored in the first quarter this season. UConn's defense forcing 10 Musketeer turnovers. Caitlin Chan. Nice aggressive take, just unlucky on the roll.
And I love the jump stop at the end, just couldn't get the finish.
Xavier 2 of 10 from the floor in the opening quarter. And again, so much of it thanks to the aggression of the UConn defense.
This is one of the most aggressive half-court defenses of the Huskies that I've seen this year.
Well, that was a nice feed into Taylor Purvis, who was cutting, and she ran into K.K. Arnold, who is going to pick up a foul. That is her first of the ball game. Yeah, I was thinking about the game against Xavier in Cincinnati a year ago, where UConn's defense held the Musketeers to single-digit scoring in the first 3 quarters. And in that game, UConn had 31 assists on 36 made field goals. Now, that was last year's team.
Seems like a lifetime ago.
Tonight, UConn has 5 assists on 9 made field goals in that opening quarter. So Taylor Purvis, a grad student from Houston, Texas, 5th-year player, 2nd season at Xavier. Second in points, team leader in steals. And leads the team in field goal percentage and 3-point field goal percentage. That
roll was cool.
Fudd again draws a foul and drops the lay-in.
Such smart recognition by Fudd to just see, just a little opening, and there's no weak side help. Canerva just swung in with the arm and committed the foul.
Yep. So that is her first. And out of bounds, turned over by Xavier, UConn basketball. Yeah. Talking to Billy Chambers at their shoot-around here at the XL Center late this morning. She knew this was a tall task for her team, but she's trying to rebuild a program. And, you know, I mean, they went through all of last season with 1 win and already have 5 this season.
Huge progress.
Yep. And if you look, there are other numbers to measure progress and say they've stepped forward. Oh, Chelly, nice feed to Strong.
What a pass.
And she knows that they're going to evaluate their team tonight based on them executing things the way they want to. And so far, the way that UConn has played, it's tough for them to execute the way they want to. Like that. Chen, back iron. Chelly tried to tap the rebound, and it got knocked away. That's going to be UConn basketball off Xavier.
Well, how about the freshman connection here? Chelly with a nice strong take and the presence of mind to dump it down to Strong, who was open.
Head up, right vision, saw the defender coming. Nicely done. Ashlyn Shade checks into the ball game for UConn. KK Arnold heads for the bench. 20-point lead for UConn, and there'll be contact on the floor. That is going to be on Taylor Purvis, her second. So, UConn again tonight, just joining us, minus Paige Beckers, out for about a week. Who's going to step up? Well, everybody. It looks like.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a really, I think, a very well-rounded team effort. Everyone getting involved. They've moved well.
Strong.
And that just shows you how difficult Strong is to defend, because we've seen her knock down threes, we've seen her knock down long twos, dribble drive, and then the move with her back to the basket. She can do everything.
11 points already for Sarah. Thrown away pass. And that's going to be turnover number 13 for Xavier. They're averaging about 17.9 per game. Trending well above that in this one so far, unfortunately for them. There's Chen, the stop, and the shot back iron. And doesn't go. 0 for 4 from the floor for Caitlin Chen so far tonight. Here's Ajanique Mayo. Ice Brady at the scorer's table waiting to check in for UConn. Stripped away from Lopez. Here comes Chen with Strong, who'll take it all the way up and in. And timeout, Xavier. We see this shot from Sarah Strong a lot. She looks like she's off balance, but she's totally in control.
Yeah, and there with the great steal. She reaps the reward on the other end. Huskies in control.
And Como's Court Vision, brought to you by Yale New Haven Health.
You know, we talked about who's going to take up the slack for Paige Beckers being out. Okay, look right here. For 21, Sarah Strong. Great spacing by UConn. Everyone's staying out. Look, she faces up. Okay, she's got nothing. It's being well defended. She kicks it out. Everyone's spaced out, but watch her. She's going to come back, get down, and look at that great strong turn and finish. Really good spacing by UConn offensively. And you can't guard Sarah Strong one-on-one. And
No.
we talked about one of the keys of the game is scoring more than Xavier's post players. There's a great example of Strong burying them in that low post and making them pay.
Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd have combined for 24 of UConn's 30 points in this game so far. Stepping up. There's Lopez and gets the 3 to go for Xavier.
Great long shot there by Lopez with Strong's hand in her face.
Sophomore from Spain. Here's Ice Brady into the ball game for UConn. Sees Shade in the corner. Quick move inside. Got it. 3 of 4 from the floor for Ashlyn Shade tonight. Never looking around and saw nothing but white jerseys. I better wait. I need help. Outside three from Martinez goes wide, and Chen chases down the long rebound. Points in the paint tonight. Mentioned Sarah Strong there. UConn 18, Xavier 2 points in the paint in this one. Here's Ice Brady. Defense collapses on her. She'll bring it back out and reset.
Yeah, that was a good read by Brady to feel that weak side help.
Chen finds Fudd, and she finds nothing but net.
That's such a dangerous pass offensively from underneath the hoop, out to foul line extended to the dangerous shooter in AZ Fudd. So tough to defend.
UConn just 3 of 10 from 3 tonight, but 2 of those 3 by Fudd, and another steal, and Strong will run it out.
And, you know, again, wise beyond her years, but so savvy to use her body to hold off the defense to get that open layup.
Here's Daniela Lopez, 7 for Xavier, whose family flew over to spend time with her for the holidays. And after some storms, turned over ball, Fudd on the run out. Got it. After some storms, they got stuck here in the U.S., so they drove from Cincinnati to Hartford to see tonight's game before they could get a flight back out home to Spain. Here's Lopez with the ball now. Now Mayo. Nice find, but great read by Strong. And saves it. Look at this ball movement from UConn, and Fudd again, Strong into the paint.
Really running offense with a purpose.
I thought UConn's shoot-around today was one of the most energetic and positive and quick-tempoed that I had seen this season, and it's reflecting on the floor tonight.
Yeah, it certainly carried over to this game that's a half hour later than it normally is.
Subs waiting to check in for UConn at the scorer's table as Mayo lets the 3 go from the corner and won't go. Here's Fudd, finds space, shot just off the mark. And the rebound goes to Canero. Thea Lopez Martinez back to the Finn, Canerva. She runs into traffic. Brady's there, and it'll be a tied-up basketball. It'll stay with Xavier.
You know, we talk a lot about Sarah Strong's scoring, but how about some of the intangibles, the great tip away and then save behind her back? You know, she does just a little bit of everything. She does whatever it takes to get the job done.
She has lived up to the billing as the #1 recruit of this year's freshman class in the nation, and goes for a rest here with 3 to go in this first half. Line change in for UConn. Caden Samuels into the ball game for the first time. And Ali Zabel also in for UConn. Long 3 try from Oreo, misses. And it will be UConn basketball. And 2:53 to go in the half. Gary Apple, Kara Walters getting ready to bring you the first half highlights and analysis on the UConn Women's Basketball Halftime Show. It's presented by Dunkin'. I figure Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd will play prominently in these halftime highlights. Knocked away by Canerva, and UConn will have 13 to shoot here. So an 11-0 run for the Huskies over the last 3.5 minutes. And Xavier has scored just 3 points in this second quarter. Shelley steps in, takes it all the way to the rim, kind of ran out of options there. And rebound fought for by Oreo, and then stolen by Samuels.
Great heads-up play by Samuels.
Shelley finds a wide open Zabel. No. And Brady gets foul, undercut, going for the rebound. She's brings up an okay. It's going to be Rune Oreo who will get called for the foul.
And Brady wasn't sure if it was going to be on her.
So 20 to shoot here for UConn. Arnold will get the ball safely inbounds. And here's Brady.
Looking more and more confident, which is what they need from Brady, because they need production from her.
Yep. Here's Lauren Christie trying to work in the paint. She'll kick it outside. Oreo, shot is off. And Caden Samuels chases down the rebound. Top of the key, Samuels. And Shelley with a nice athletic go for the rebound. And she'll get called for the travel. And the turnover.
You can't fault the effort, though.
I just listening to the trying to get the UConn Husky chant going here in the building. I mean, look at the scoreboard in this second quarter. It's 22-3 in this period. The Huskies have just been so impressive with their energy that they're playing with.
Yeah, and they've just defensively not let Xavier get into any kind of flow offensively. Gino's teams have always, been known for their defensive intensity, but this is one of the best games I've seen them play this year, just because they're not letting Xavier do anything they want to do. And then, whether it's steals or deflections, they're getting, easy looks the other way as well.
And that pressure and energy you talked about, Maggie, it hasn't mattered who's been in the game. They've been able to execute it, which is great. There's another steal. Samuels gets in the passing lane. A minute to go in the first half. Everybody that's available has played. Azzi Fudd and Sarah Strong have dominated the scoreboard. Samuels takes it into the paint. She'll get called for the offensive foul.
Nice positioning there by Christie to get the space and take the charge.
So that'll be the first on Caden Samuels. 6 fouls called on Xavier, 5 on UConn in this opening half. UConn has forced 20 Musketeer turnovers in these opening 2 quarters. Here's Lopez. Stops, misses, gets fouled. Couldn't see through the traffic who that was on. Was that on Samuels? Yes, it is. Second on Cadence. And so Daniela Lopez, sophomore from Spain, will go to the free throw line. Last year against UConn, had double figures in scoring in the game in Cincinnati. Plus,
she came in and played 38 minutes a game. Second among freshmen in the Big East.
I had on my notes from that game in Cincinnati last year, she was a freshman and she had the misfortune of being assigned to guard Page.
Yeah. Welcome to the big leagues.
Yep. So, final 20 seconds of the second quarter. Can UConn put the exclamation point on the period? Get it into ice. Skip past to Arnold. To Zabel, fumbled it. Can she get another shot off? She does, and it goes. And that's how the second quarter is going to end. A play that turned into a bit of a scramble winds up in points on the board for UConn.
So it was great composure. A lot of times when the seconds start ticking down, people just, get frenetic with it. But really, I love the poise there by Zabel.
UConn's defense generating 20 turnovers in the first half against Xavier. So Chelsea has just talked to Xavier's head coach, Billy Chambers. Chelsea?
Yeah, Alan, she had a lot to share with me at the half. She said that we can't play scared. She said we're getting sped up in everything that we're doing. She said 20 turnovers is unacceptable. She said we have to play with more confidence and be better communicators. She said we're much better defenders than what we're showing. I asked her, how do you slow down Azzi Fudd? She said we got to stay in front of her and be more disciplined on our closeouts, Alan.
All right, Chelsea, thanks. Miscommunication between Strong and Chen, and UConn will turn it over. You know, there's always something to be coached up and gained, even when your team's leading by 35.
Even when your coach looks like that?
So yeah, you're Billy Chambers. You want to see your team play hard and execute what you're trying to get them to
she's
execute.
in her second season. She's trying to turn this program around. She has a
first basket of the game on a made three, and then UConn went on a 19-3 run after that to kind of blow the game open. For Billy Chambers, a heavily international-laden squad, she said that brings a certain level of maturity to your team that you kind of need when you're trying to rebuild a program. Strong into El Alfi, yes.
She almost jumped to pass it, and I said it was almost a turnover.
There are those points in the paint continuing for UConn. Long three try, comes up well short. I think Jenna El Alfi just got introduced to the U.S. board game Twister. Trying to gather that one up. Held ball, UConn basketball on the alternating possession arrow. 10 to shoot for the Huskies. Check that, Xavier basketball, my bad. The teams have switched ends, right? It's third quarter. And another turnover. Here's Strong into El Alfi. Gets knocked away. Borolova on defense, able to make that stop, and the shot misses at the other end, and here comes Shade, quick on top of that loose ball, and it got away from her, gonna be knocked out of bounds off Xavier, UConn basketball. Strong. Lost control of the ball going in, and it's turned over to Taylor Purvis, and she leaves the pass behind Canerva. And so dueling turnovers here. Bud makes room for herself and puts it off the glass.
How about that? Nice little push off with the shoulder. She kept the arm down. No foul call.
By the way, the first player off the bench cheering every UConn steal, score, whatever, is Paige Beckers.
As good of a player as she is, she's a better teammate.
Here's Lauren Christie. Oreo now from the free-throw stripe, got it. So the junior from Spain with the points, all of them in this third quarter so far for the Musketeers. Shot short from Fudd, and rebound goes to Purvis. El Alfi tried to chase that one down, couldn't come up with it. So Paige Beckers watching tonight. Again, during the morning shoot-around, Chelsea reported on this earlier in the pregame show, but Paige was out there during cup. They did a three-point shooting contest. She was part of the at full speed, but in very good spirits as Shade, high glass and in.
Nice finish by Shade and avoided contact for that offensive foul.
Gino reporting to the media yesterday, just a sprain, kind of like the AZ Fudd injury. Go. Another turnover by Xavier to UConn. And the ankle injury, he said, was not a major deal as Shade. This is on that one. And Gino said it would be about a week or so before we see Paige Beckers back on the floor for UConn. There'll be a process to getting back and building up her minutes as well.
I think that was a foul on Canerva on Xavier. So UConn possession under the hoop.
It was Canerva, and that is going to be, I believe, her second, yes.
Physical inside.
Yeah. Obviously, they're working specifically coming out of the locker room on, let's get Jana El-Alfi some touches and let her go to work here in the paint.
Yeah, she was getting bumped down there.
Petra Oborolova, junior from Slovakia, with the foul called on her. 24 to shoot here as the Huskies inbound. El-Alfi strong to the rim. The bucket and the foul.
You know, her teammates so desperately want El-Alfi to be successful. You know what the best part about this play? She didn't think. It was just instincts. Yep. She got the ball at the top of, at that foul line and just drove to the basket.
Potential take it to the rim moment there for us at some point in the game for Jana El-Alfi. So Jana is up to 5 points, 2 of 3 from the floor tonight, 1 of 1 from the free throw stripe. She's got a couple of assists and no fouls. And all of El-Alfi's 5 points in this quarter, kind of backing up the point I made about it. Looks like that was a concerted effort coming out of the locker room. Here's Christie.
Yeah, they've got to get El-Alfi minutes. She's got to play, be productive, gain some confidence.
Bud, got it.
You also need more of that from AZ Fudd. She drove so much in that first half. You've got her. She's got to get back into that game rhythm.
Season high in scoring. 23 points for Fudd, 3 of 5 from long range. Here's Angelique Mayo from Bridgeport. Played at Notre Dame Catholic High School. Lets the 3 go. It's too strong. And bodies on the floor underneath. Going to be a foul. I believe that's on Caitlin Chen. And indeed it will be her first. Chen will head to the bench along with Sarah Strong and AZ Fudd. To a nice hand from the XL Center crowd.
It's still tough to, funny for me to see all of these subs that Gino keeps putting in and out. It's been a long time that they've been able to do this.
And as a result, they're able to just maintain that energy and defensive pressure that's kind of been missing the last couple of injury-riddled years, right? 5 to shoot. Does Mayo see the clock? Into Christie, that's it. Time's going to run out. Time violation and a turnover to UConn. 8-0 run here for the Huskies over the last minute and 53 seconds. AZ Fudd with a 3, adding on to the UConn lead. Out night.
Well, it's one of her best games of the season, and I love the pass from Shade. The quick, beautiful release from the top of the key. And this is a great play, sizing up the play, keeping her head up, and then creating the space and finishing while getting bumped. I love it. And Shade, another quick pass to Fudd. 23 points on the evening, 9 of 14, and then 3 of 5 from three-point range. Look at that, most since November 27th. And couldn't be timed better with Beckers being out.
Yeah, exactly. And the other part of that is, too, we talked earlier, first came back this season, started slow a couple games, then got going, then got injured. A little slow getting back to full speed. Well, she's back to full speed tonight, and that is a great thing for Husky fans to see going forward here into January and February.
And speaking of great, a great steal by Purvis at half court.
Nice feed into the paint, but cut off. Lopez looking for help, but KK Arnold comes away with the basketball.
Those long outstretched arms of El-Alfi makes you think twice.
So UConn on a 12-2 run over the last about 5 minutes of this ball game. Ali Zabel will let the 3 fly. It's short and goes right into the hands of Lopez. That is Lucia Martinez Lopez, one of 2 players named Lopez on the Xavier roster. Purvis steps in and misses. And that'll be turned over to UConn. One of those kinds of nights for Billy Chambers and her team. Again, after winning just one game a season ago, they've already got 5 victories this season. Now can they crack the conference win column going forward in this year? Came close. As Zabel lets the 3 go and scores.
That's what Zabel needs to do. Come in a game, knock down open threes.
The last game for Xavier, they fell behind 20-8 in quarter 1, playing DePaul. They came roaring back and got within 1 before the game eluded them by 5 in the final tally. Shot clock down to 3. Raj missed, and that sets off a time violation.
And as we've seen time and again, Gino's teams, you know, he and his staff work really hard of making sure the kids approach the game and play the game the same way all the time, regardless of the score. You know, he's still out there coaching and working on things, tinkering with their lineup, what they're going to run. This is how you figure out who plays well together and how you can mix lineups.
And in the pursuit of perfection, there's always something to be learned. If you're on the floor, you're expected to execute and perform, not look at the scoreboard and say, yeah, okay.
Translation, there's always something for him to complain about.
That too.
Now, Xavier was just called for a foul.
That was on Mackenzie Gibbons, freshman from Cincinnati, into the game. Her 3rd appearance of the season for the Musketeers. Raj almost got the steal, but instead, Zabel gets the 3. Starting to see the ball go through the hoop after some early in her freshman season struggles. But Ali Zabel, recruited to UConn and known as a sharpshooter, having some great success in these last few games. It's Lopez, and it goes.
That's a tough shot with a hand in the face.
So Xavier up to the most points it scored in a quarter in this game, in this 3rd quarter. With 2 minutes to go. Zabel drives and flips to Brady. Nice ball movement. This will be Shelley. Long rebound into the hands of Raj for Xavier. Julia Garcia Raj, sophomore from Barcelona. Again, 4 players from Spain on the roster, part of the 12 international players out of 15. Lopez misses. Going to get a foul as Brady went up for the rebound. And I believe get her for over the back. Well, talked about earlier, Ice Brady and the need to establish some confidence in the redshirt sophomore's play. Remember missing all of her true freshman season, injured. Coming back last year, having her best moments at the end of the season. Leah Edwards was injured, and she had no choice but to play all 40 minutes in the Big East Tournament semifinals and championship game. Shot clock at 7. And a shot off the mark from Daniela Lopez.
I like the lineup, too, that has Brady and Alfie in the 2 bigs in there together.
Alfie will draw the contact as she went strong to the rim. Nice quick turnaround move for Alfie. And that personal foul will be on Martinez Lopez. So here's Jenna Alfie again at the free throw stripe. Up to 6 points on the night so far. Has played 15 minutes in this ball game. Didn't want to say it until she shot the second one. Free throw shooting's been something she needed to improve on in this season. Made them both, and she's made all of them tonight. Perfect from the charity stripe. And that's going to be a foul. KK Arnold went for the ball and got a piece of Daniela Lopez on the cheek.
It was a late whistle. I'm not saying he was wrong, but he saw the kid grab her face like, wow, I just got smacked.
One of those things I think in football they call indicators. Knocked away by Arnold. So 18 to shoot here, and about 45 seconds to go in this third quarter here in Hartford. Shot thrown up from the corner, doesn't go, and Alfie with the rebound. That was Daniela Lopez that missed. Zabel cut off, but Shelley makes her way into some space, then almost lost the basketball. They'll bring it out to Arnold and reset.
I like that they're running offense and not just settling for the first open three they find. More important to execute here.
Oh, Arnold and Alfie with the give and go.
How much better was that than just an open three? Come on.
Fun to see. Raj to the corner. The three to end the third period by Vivian Naismith, the freshman from Split, Croatia, who gets on the board. But UConn outscoring Xavier 22-9 in the third quarter. KK Arnold and Jenna Alfie with a pretty play to get UConn's final points in the period.
Of Madison Square Garden, but it didn't stop there. Paige Beckers, even though she's not playing right now, she still gave her team an assist. With an NIL partnership with Verizon, she was able to gift each of her teammates a new iPhone, and they all absolutely loved it. So this team, much tighter than you might think.
Chels, thanks. And you could see the chemistry this group has. We have the privilege of traveling with the team on their team plane, and you can see this is a group that likes each other. As KK Arnold lets it go.
And you know things are going well when KK Arnold is knocking down threes.
Good. Shot is altered as Givens went up. Morgan Shelley, Ice Brady, Caden Samuels, KK Arnold, and Ali Zabel, the five on the floor for UConn, and that's going to be a tied-up basketball that'll be turned over to Xavier.
Nice hustle by Xavier defensively to create that turnover.
So Musketeers go back home to take on St. John's on Saturday, and then come back to the East Coast next Wednesday to play at Providence. This is the only meeting of this season in the 18-game conference schedule in the Big East this year between UConn and Xavier, so no trip to Cincinnati for the Huskies this year. 10 to shoot now for Xavier. Ice Brady got a hand on that ball, I believe. Knocked away as Brady tried to feed it out. Arnold tried to feed it out to Brady.
It was a great drive. Arnold should shoot the ball there.
So 23 to shoot for UConn. So KK Arnold sets the half-court offense. See the kind of execution this group of five can give the Huskies here.
What a kick.
Zabel rounded out. That was rather cruel in the home rim.
Arnold is such a great leader out there. She's so active, but she makes sure her teammates know what they're doing. She communicates well.
Key piece to this UConn squad. That's knocked away by Samuels and goes off of a Xavier player, and it's UConn basketball. Yeah, there's a look at KK. And talk about an adjustment to make, right? A season ago, KK was playing over 30 minutes a game. This year coming off the bench, but growing in her leadership.
Think about how she changes the game. You know, when kids come in, you want them to change the game when they come in off the bench. And KK does such a phenomenal job of changing the energy and the tempo and her outstanding defense.
And the quick hands.
She just makes so much happen.
Borlova now into the paint to Naismith, who draws a foul. So Huskies, who have and will play a lot of January on the road, go back on the road for the next 2. We'll go to D.C. for Georgetown Saturday, then to Queens to play at Carnesecca against St. John's. That is next Wednesday. Got a foul called on Martinez Lopez for Xavier, UConn basketball here. So look at this Big East Conference, and we're halfway through the season now, so we've seen enough of all the teams play a little bit. The preseason poll said Creighton would be the Huskies' biggest challenger. What have you seen so far?
Yeah, I mean, they could. I do think it's UConn's. I think it's UConn going away.
I agree.
And I think, too, is up for grabs a little bit. It could be a gritty conference, and it's competitive and prideful.
Nice kick from Shelley over to Zabel, who drops the 3 and points at her freshman teammate and says, nice. How about Seton Hall, Pirates? Tony
They're
squad.
playing great right now, 4-0. They are playing well. I mean,
going to call Samuels for that foul. So you see the Blue Jays at 4-0 and undefeated in conference play. Seton Hall, still 2 matchups with the Pirates to come this season. And, of course, Walsh is never an easy place to play.
Never. Faith Masonis is playing great for Seton Hall. Transferred in from Maryland. Had a game winner to beat Villanova at Finneran a couple of weeks ago. Playing with a lot of confidence.
Yep. Fia Martinez Lopez makes both of the free throws for the freshman from Spain. I didn't mean to cause you distress, by the way, when I said about Walsh being a tough place to play, because I know every time we go there, you have a moment you need to settle. It was a place of difficulty to go into as a visiting player. 6 to shoot. Arnold aggressively to the rim, and it just won't fall. The off balance.
Yeah, nice
shot.
Step around to avoid the foul. Just couldn't get it to fall.
And Samuels is going to get called.
Well, when you think about it, she came up, right? So you got to have the left hand in the passing lane. She came in with the right hand, and that's why she body blocked her. Watch this. See, look, right hand, boom, body block. Left hand, that's not a foul.
So Cadence has 4 fouls in this one and stays on the floor with 6 minutes to go. Orlova, no, and Ice Brady with a rebound for UConn. Zabel, rounding out, and Ice Brady crashes the boards.
Great effort by Brady to track down that offensive rebound.
It's 2 threes that have just gone all the way around the rim and out for Zabel. 7 to shoot. Brady looks the post, spins around the double team, but too strong with the shot. UConn shooting just 2 of 7 in this 4th quarter so far. Xavier has yet to make a field goal in the 4th quarter. They'll get some second chance opportunities here. Long range shot from Canerva, no, and the rebound to Chelly.
Nice box out by Chelly.
Shot doesn't go from Samuels, but Zabel fights for the rebound into Chelly. And that shot rattles out. 3 assists, but has gone 0 for 5 from the floor.
And Gino has said it a lot this year alone. You don't have to score to play well and impact the game.
Freshman on freshman here. That's going to be KK Arnold called for her 3rd foul. And gets us to the media timeout with 4 minutes and 31 seconds to go in the ball game. UConn seeking its 200th win at the XL Center in just 218 games here.
But looks like a pick and roll. The nice roll, the perfect pass from KK Arnold to the outstretched hands of El Alfi.
So both KK and Jana seated on the bench as we go through this final 4 minutes and 31 seconds here in Hartford. with Zabel, Samuels, Chen, Brady, and Chelly, the 5 on the floor for UConn. Shot from the corner doesn't go for Oborolova, and a nice rebound for Ice Brady.
Love to see Ice Brady fighting for defensive rebounds like that.
Huskies haven't scored in the last nearly 3 minutes of this ball game. Let's see if Samuels can make that right. Going to be a foul called on Cadence, and that will be her 5th. And that is going to be just the 2nd UConn player to foul out of the game this season.
Wow, she did that in a hurry.
Well, she brought the aggression to the floor for sure.
9 minutes.
So Jana El-Alfi back into the ball game for the Huskies here. 51-point UConn lead. Largest margin of victory this season, 54. Zabel gets the steal. That was the 86-32 win over Boston University, way back at the very beginning of the season. Chen. Oh, around and out.
Another cruel roll. Isn't this supposed to be a home court?
Yeah, loosen that rim up a little bit. That's over 4 from 3 tonight and over 5 from the floor for Chen. Oborolova, no. And that's going to be out of bounds off of UConn. Xavier basketball. Be curious to hear what Gino has to say on his overall take. His halftime thoughts were very positive, very pleased with his team. The overall effort on the night, with a lot of people getting a lot of playing time in this one. Here's Oreo.
Good kick.
Shot too strong, long rebound. And it's going to be Xavier basketball with just 20 to shoot. So next up for UConn is a trip to Georgetown on Saturday. Huskies and Hoyas played before Christmas on December 15th, with UConn winning that one 79-44. The entertainment and sports arena, where they'll play in D.C., has been a kind of an intense atmosphere for UConn as Oreo gets another 3 to go. She's 2 of 3 from outside tonight. She's got 2 of Xavier's 5 3-pointers. Here's El-Alfi. Into Brady. It's off Ice's hands and out of bounds, and a UConn turnover.
Gino's looking at her like, what were you thinking?
It's been almost, it's been over 4.5 minutes since the Huskies scored.
And, you know, you force it sometimes just because you want your teammate to score. And, you know, Brady might have been open for a split second, but the pass came late.
Zabel saw the pass, almost got the steal. Here's Raj. Trying to dribble through too many players. And Chen thought that Zabel was going to dive for the ball. That'll be tied up. It'll be UConn basketball. Gary Apple and Kara Walters are standing by with a full recap of tonight's game. Plus, you'll get to hear Gino Auriemma's post-game news conference. It's the UConn Women's Basketball post-game show presented by your local New England Honda dealers. Coming up right after the ball game tonight here on SNY.
Again, trying to get this group to execute something. Isolation of El-Alfi in that low post.
Kick for Zabel, and the 3 goes.
And that's a great play. That's a great thing for them to continue to work on. Get the ball into the low post and then kick it to the opposite side to the open 3. Makes it harder for defenses then to pile down into that low post and take away the UConn's post play.
New career and season high for Ali Zabel tonight. That was El-Alfi with the block. Zabel 7 points had been her previous high. She's up to 14 tonight. 4 of 8 from outside. 50% from 3. Any night, you'll take that. Jenna El-Alfi will draw contact as she drove into traffic. And UConn will have 17 seconds with which to shoot. So I was talking about going down to Georgetown and that entertainment and sports arena. It's been a bit of an intense place for the Huskies to play for a couple times. They've always gotten away and gotten the win, but it's been intense.
Yeah, Georgetown is physical. They love that home court. So it's always tough going down there.
Alfie with the
continued growth from Al Alfie is important.
Jana into double figures tonight with 11. Shot from outside, missed. And that is going to be UConn basketball. That basket from El Alfie, very important points for some who follow these games in a certain way. My take on the old Brent Merschberger line, friends in the desert. So UConn lining up without Paige Beckers tonight. And that was one of the questions about the game. I say they've looked pretty good.
I think this is as good as they've looked in a long time. Beckers are not.
Allie Zabel with her 5th made 3 on the night. And an 8-0 run for UConn as we come down to the final 15 seconds of this one. And the shot from Oreo will put the final line on the scoring in this one. So UConn shooting 52% from the floor, and in the second half, 53% from 3. And the Huskies will go to 5-0 in the Big East and 14-2 on the season with an 81-27 victory over Xavier. They hold the Musketeers to the lowest point total they've given an opponent this season and the lowest in the series between UConn and Xavier, which now goes in the Huskies' favor as a 9th win against no losses. Our player of the game tonight, presented by your local Hyundai dealers, is AZ Fudd. And look at the numbers for AZ tonight.
Well, it was